Today's children will bear the brunt of the impact of climate change. And on today's edition of Resource Review, we're looking at 3 secondary resources designed to teach the subject. They are a DVD of lesson kits, a film pack, and a website designed to promote debate. Recommending today's resources, we have Jon Clarke, Deputy Head and a Geography Specialist at Walsall Academy. On the panel today, we're joined by Alan Kinder, who is Advisory Teacher for Geography for Barking and Dagenham School Improvement Service. And we also have Dr Gerard O'Sullivan, who is an Advanced Skills Geography Teacher at Homewood School and Sixth Form Centre in Kent. And of course, Matthew Tosh, our resource investigator, is out and about seeing how the resources fare in the classroom. OK, Jon, let's talk about the first resource that you've recommended for us today, and it's from Birchfield Interactive, and it's lesson kits about fragile environments and global warming. Tell us about this resource.
It's a resource that's IT-based, full interactivity for students, allowing them to do assessment tasks through a VLE. We're not saying take the whole resource, but taking parts of it, sections, and using the best parts of this resource. The quality of the resources within inside this, the graphics, the video which has been prepared for you, make it much easier to prepare the lesson, and the lesson kit software allows you to do that.
OK, thank you very much. Well, Matthew Tosh, our resource investigator, travelled to Richard Hale School in Hertford to see this resource in use in the classroom.
Well, I'm here at the school and we're going to see the Birchfield Global Warming module in action. This is Mark Mortensen and his Year 9 class. Let's see how they get on.
So let's start first. Here's our objectives. 1, we're going to look at global warming. I'm going to tell you what it's all about. 2, I'm going to tell you what the greenhouse effect is. And we're going to look at the causes of the greenhouse effect.
Mark, can you tell me how you've been using the Birchfield software today?
I've been using it as an interactive tool. I created some of the lessons myself. I didn't actually stay with the lessons that came with it. I created my own lesson with a lesson builder and made it more interactive with other resources taken off the net and what I had in school.
And how's it been received by the pupils?
They enjoyed it. I felt they enjoyed it. They liked the graphics. I think they enjoyed the activities because the activities were engaging. They came up and actually did them on the board.
What do you think of the resources?
I found the software clunky. It wasn't user-friendly because time's of the essence in teaching, and you just can't spend so much time building one lesson. And I can understand what they're saying, and that it'll build up a great library, and yes, it will. And I think the graphics are great, but we just don't have the time in school to do that.
Methane is released from sources of decaying organic matter, such as waste tips, animal dung and farms, as well as from coal mines and natural gas production.
So, to summarise your overall impressions?
I think it has potential. I'd like to see it worked on and adapted. If it stays in the current form it is, I would use it only because you can't get those types of graphics on the internet or for free. But as regards to using it as a tool, I'd think twice about it because there are better packages out there that you could use in the classroom.
Thank you very much. Mixed views there, but what do our panel think? Let's go back to the studio.
Alan, do you think this resource is worth the time?
I think potentially it saves you time. Unlike earlier Birchfield materials that I had seen, this is digestible. In other words, one of the discs allows you to take materials and put them in an order that you want to use them in. And the other thing I think which is positive about this resource for me is that it is very visual. A couple of things that were my chief concerns really about the resource. Firstly, I think that the resource is geared towards what I call exposition. In other words, transferring or transmitting information. And the problem I have with that is that it doesn't develop higher order thinking skills. I'm not saying that resource can't be used in that way, but the way it's presented at the moment suggests that we look at, listen to and watch factual information and we absorb it.
I wholly agree that higher order thinking skills and learning to learn must be an important part of our planning, but I do think this helps teachers, as you said, to make it easier to plan for those visual launch activities.
Okay, well, Gerard, what do you make of this resource?
Yeah, again, I would go on using it as a visual launch, but I think I'd use it far less in lessons. I agree with what Alan said. It really is the acquisition of knowledge and the transfer of knowledge and content rather than development of skills. So I think I'd use it as a VLE, or I'd give students parts of it and say, right, you've got to produce a 3-minute clip on what we can do about global warming. And then what you can do is they can pull out and put them into their own presentation. If it's used as part of a make your own presentation, then it is more kinesthetic learning than just the acquisition of knowledge.
Thank you all very much. Time now to move on to John's second choice of resource for us today. And this is the Climate Change Film Pack. This is sent to the school by the government. John, tell us about it.
Right, obviously people are fully aware of The Inconvenient Truth and the
by
film,
Al Gore.
but we are not recommending that resource, but more a pack that works alongside it.
So there's 2 DVDs in the pack.
There's 2 DVDs in the pack, one which is made by students for students, and what more power can you get than a young person talking to a young person? The tasks, they are paper-based, photocopyable, easy to use, but linked to a resource that's there in front of them.
Thank you. Well, we sent Matthew over to Birchfield Academy in Luton, Bedfordshire, to see the pack, including An Inconvenient Truth, in use in the classroom.
The Climate Change Film Pack from DCSF Publications includes a box with 2 DVDs in it. One has got Al Gore's film An Inconvenient Truth, but the other's got 4 films that have been commissioned by DEFRA, and it also includes an animation of the carbon cycle. Also in the packs, there's a Sustainable Schools leaflet and a very useful booklet here, which has got teaching activities, curriculum links and learning outcomes. It shows you how you can work the films into your lessons. Well, we're going to see Andrew Araki and his Year 9 class to see how they get on with this pack.
Keeps our climate the way it is. It's mild, we don't get extreme winters. It is because of this ocean current.
Andrew, can you talk me through how you've been using the pack today?
We use the pack as a tool to augment the lesson and give the children an opportunity to have a pictorial evidence of the impact of human action on the environment. So there's an increase in the amount of UV rays that's coming into our atmosphere. I liked it because it's divided into subjects, and then each suggested lesson plan has a tie-in to different chapters in the video. So that also worked really well so that you're not running around looking for things.
Is there any way you think the pack could be improved?
For children, a lot of the technical stuff might be difficult for them to understand. But apart from that, I think the pack on its own served the purpose for which it was produced.
And so, to summarise?
Well, I think it's a very good resource pack. The children enjoyed it and we intend to continue using it. Yeah, it's a very good resource.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And now, let's go back to our panel.
Gerard, what do you make of the Climate Change Film Pack?
Got to admit, a bit dubious about government films and government film packs, but I've got to say, love this. The Al Gore film, I don't really like that, but I love the way in which there's a series of targeted, focused sub-themes that you can explore and you can develop with the students, and you can develop concepts of place, space, time, rather than just the acquisition of knowledge. And the one that I really liked was sort of the activity tucked away at the back, which I nearly missed, which was the whole day event. And I'm now thinking, right, I want to do a whole day event in my school, climate change in the morning, and then run a concert in the afternoon where the students can explore some sort of music and creative things around the theme. So using the film as a basis and as a starter point.
Alan, what do you think?
Well, there's a lot of materials in the pack, which is a strength, I suppose. I think, for me, the film itself, although it's a very strong narrative, which I enjoy, it's just too wide-ranging for me to see how I would use that.
Could you use sections of it?
You could, and that's where the book came in. The book, I think, is an exhaustive sort of curriculum mapping exercise to do exactly that. And the other thing I'd pick up on is that it has a very narrow view of what geography is as a subject. So if you look at the suggested activities for geography, they're only a subset of what I would do with these materials as a geographer. And I think that's a real weakness of the pack.
John, what would you say to that?
If this pack is another tool that we can use to say to students how important geography is, then it's a worthwhile resource. Realistically, it's the breaking down of that resource and using it.
Now let's move on quickly to John's third choice of resource for us today, and this is a website called TrueTube. So, John, tell us about this.
Right, this is very, very new. There's a whole series of videos. There's one by Johnny Borrell, the lead singer of Razorlight, which obviously the students can identify with. There's also other things. The video that I've just chosen randomly to pick out is a school in South London who debate green issues. Now, these small video clips are great, so let's have a look at this.
Do what? A little bit of recycling or something? Switch off a light, please. 9,000 tonnes of recycling is still sent to a landfill.
So, John, you said this is quite a new resource. Is the idea for pupils within geography to create their own films and put them on the web?
It certainly is. It's just won the AIR Award for Resource of the Year. It's new and it's going to be really useful for students. OK,
well, Alan, do you think TrueTube will catch on?
I do. I thought it was fantastic. I think the format was really fresh. And I think from a geographer's point of view, it does something that the other two resources didn't quite manage, which is to really get under the skin of what different people feel about this issue. It helps to explain why we have this issue, because there are a whole range of opinions about it there. And I really like that about this site. I thought it was fantastic. Okay. I had a couple of reservations. I want to know where these video clips come from. And the author under each one is listed as TrueTube. I wasn't quite sure if that meant TrueTube had produced these, or if someone else had produced it and they had hosted it on their site.
Certain ones have been created by TrueTube themselves. Obviously, they just launched this resource. They had to put something there. The view is it will come from other people in the future.
And the second thing, really, for me, was the quality of the responses, the written responses in the forum section of the site. I really enjoyed the range of views that the video clips portrayed, but the comments that followed up from those just weren't of good quality.
OK. Gerard, what do you make of this resource?
First impressions, I wasn't that impressed by it, and I felt you needed to look at it a little bit deeper. And I think the reason I wasn't impressed is, firstly, it said environment rather than geography, and secondly, it lacked bookmarking, directions and things like that. So that was a downside of it, but as you looked at it more and I started to explore the way students could publish their work, I thought that was a real winner. My students are doing a lot of podcasting, and they would love to put their resources up on this, and the fact that it's moderated and safe and secure, I think would really be beneficial to them. The forum, as mentioned, hasn't been very well developed, and it's like, wow, this is fab. It's a fair comment, but it doesn't really contribute much to the debate.
I do take the point about the forum, but this is such a new resource that I'm sure that will come over time, and I hope that this will be the success that I think it can be.
OK, well, thank you all very, very much. That's all we've got time for today. But just to recap, the three resources that we've looked at are Fragile Environments Global Warming Lesson Kit from Birchfield Interactive, the Climate Change Film Pack from the DCSF, and truetube.co.uk from TrueTube. For more information about the resources that we've featured on today's programme, go to our website. It's teachers.tv/resource review. Or if you want to, email us, resourcereview@teachers.tv. I'd like to say a big thank you to our panel today, to John, to Alan and to Gerard. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on Resource Review. Bye-bye.